Please rise. The Court of the Second Judicial Circuit, Criminal Division, is now in session. The Honorable Judge Edward D. Cobar presiding.
Everyone but the jury may be seated. Miss Claudia, please swear in the jury.
Please raise your right hand. Do you solemnly swear or affirm that you will truly listen to this case and render a true verdict and a fair sentence as to this defendant?
I do.
You may be seated.
Members of the jury, your duty today will be to determine whether the defendant is guilty or not guilty based only on facts and evidence provided in this case. The prosecution must prove that a crime was committed and that the defendant is the person who committed the crime. However, if you are not satisfied of the defendant's guilt to that extent, then reasonable doubt exists, and the defendant must be found not guilty. Miss Claudia, what is today's case?
Your Honor, today's case is the State of Florida versus Theodore Robert Bundy.
Is the prosecution ready?
Yes, Your Honor.
Is the defense ready?
Yes, Your Honor.
Ladies and gentlemen, this case is a much more than a double murder. This case is about catching a monster. In the early morning hours of January 15, 1978, a young woman arrived home to the Chi Omega sorority house. She heard a thump upstairs. A man ran down carrying an oak log and fled. The young woman went upstairs to investigate where her sorority sister stumbled out of her bedroom, spitting up blood because her face had been smashed. Her roommates too. She was sitting on her bed in a daze. They are the lucky ones. In the room next over, another young woman was lying face down in her own blood. Her neck has been twisted at an inhuman angle. The jaw is broken. Her body had bite marks on it. She had been raped and strangled. Strangled with a pantyhose garrote, so tight that her neck was constricted to half its size. This last girl, we're still not sure if she died from strangulation or the blow to her head that left a baseball-sized hole in her skull. We do know that her underwear was torn off with such force it left burn marks on her thigh. Thank you. Your Honor, I call my first witness, Carol Derange.
Go on, Miss Carol.
I was kicking him and screaming, and he held a small black gun to my head and said, "If you don't stop screaming, I'm going to kill you. I blow your brains out." And then I fell backwards out of this car and run as fast as I could.
As best you recall, Carol, is the man who approached you present in court today?
Yes.
Can you point where he's seated? No more questions, Your Honor.
Hello, Ms. Derinch. Had the police shown him a photo of me prior to his identification on October 2nd formation?
Yes.
He actually picked a photo out of a pile, but when I asked specifically why he chose my photo, he said, "It looks something like him, but I can't really say for sure." Is that correct? The only remotely corroborative evidence you provided was the make of a vehicle. It's a Volkswagen, one of the most popular cars in America. However, his books are nothing like your description. How do you square that?
They told me it was supposed to be the car.
Who told you that, Ms. Darinch? But the fact is, you identified my client because the police wanted you to do it right. There are no more questions, Your Honor.
I call the second witness to the stand to testify.
Please continue, Detective Chapman.
When we questioned him about the crimes, declined to have an attorney present.
He asked not to have counsel.
That's right. Then he asked return of the recorder and no notes be taken.
So this was off the record.
He talked so the state of Florida allows undercover recording devices, but it's malfunctioned. That's why the part of the tape cuts out.
What part was that, detective?
His confession.
What did he say in his confession?
He said he was a vampire.
Objection is narration on behalf of the witness, Your Honor.
Sustained.
Your Honor,
Your Honor, I also moved to have the Texas entire testimony stricken from the record on the basis that the word surreptitious shall automatically disqualify anything miscorrecting as evidence, being that as synonymous with secret, stealthy, clandestine, sneaky, sly, furtive, or concealed.
Your Honor, is he allowed to keep talking?
Not true evidence should, could, or would ever be described in short terms.
Your Honor, the jury.
Objection is sustained.
Okay, thank you, Your Honor.
After he escaped a second time, he committed two horrific homicides at the Chi Omega fraternity where Margaret Bowman and Lisa Levy died. And not being enough with the same night, he a few blocks away he lashed out at Cheryl Thomas, whom I call as my next witness.
Go on, Miss Thomas.
What was she doing that 15 Jane 1978?
I was going to bed after a date.
Do you remember what happened when was attacked?
No, I just remember that I woke up in a hospital days later and I had 5 skull fracture and multiple contusion in my head. Because the skull fracture that ignorant was damaged, I lost the hearing in my left ear and the equilibrium. And I had a broken jaw in my left, and my left shoulder was pulled off in joint, and I was just pretty bruised.
No more questions, Your Honor.
These are an enlarged photograph of the defense team. You can see the double bite will exert the same unique pattern as the defense shipper upper right central incisor. Yes, I can. The defense did made two marks.
Okay, no further questions.
Dr. Sobrion, is there any way to test whether those teeth will make the same mark over and over?
Yes, I took models of the defense teeth, and I went to the morgue and I pressed two models into the buttocks area of different individuals. And yes, they do match.
I'm sorry, Mr. Dr. Sobrion. Did you experiment on cadavers?
Well, I confine any life voluntaries.
I had to question the competency of this expert witness.
The court has already ruled on this witness expertise, counselor.
I consider the death penalty to be one of the most primitive and savage acts the human being can impose on another. My Christian education confirms that taking the life of another under any circumstance is mistake and it's not possible for the state of Florida to deny the life of God.
Thank you for that. Miss Simpson, your closing argument.
Ladies and gentlemen of the jury, you have been witness to the unspeakable horrors of the defendant's heinous crimes. You've seen ghastly smashes in faces, broken jaws, the vile markage of a predator. We have provided forensic expert testimony to corroborate every last bit of evidence. You've seen the bottle of hair mist he used to sexually penetrate one of the victims in a manner so savage it ruptured her internal organs. We have placed the defendant at the scene of the crime. You've seen the oil he used to bludgeon this poor victim. The state of Florida has proved beyond a reasonable doubt the defendant. Dr. Robert Bundy is guilty of two murders in the United States.
Mr. Bundy, your closing argument.
Ladies and gentlemen, there are two ways for the police to investigate crimes. They can go to the crime scene, search for clues, and follow those clues to get to a logical conclusion, or they can begin with a suspect. Decide on that suspect, and then somehow make all the evidence fit only on that suspect. It is clearly to charity and to cast an innocent man in some or murder in a horror film. Their own witness testified that the woman wore a mask obscuring the half of his face. The landing was low. Ladies and gentlemen, I am the innocent suspect.
I am in receipt of the jury's verdict. Jury, tell us what your verdict was, please.
With the jury in Miami
Dade County, Florida, find the defendant Theodore Robert Bundy on the count of murder in the first degree of Lisa Levy guilty as charged. On the count of murder in the first degree of Margaret Bowman guilty as charged. On the count of attempted murder in the first degree of Katie Kleiner guilty as charged. On the count of attempted murder in the first degree of Cheryl Thomas guilty as charged. So say we all.
It is court reasoned judgment you'd be adjudicated guilty of murder in the first degree, that the killing were indeed heinous, atrocious, and cruel, in that they were extremely weak, shockingly evil, vile, and with utter indifference to human life, and that you should be put to death by current of electricity that shall pass through your body until you're dead.
I won't ask for mercy. In fact, I find it absurd to ask for mercy for something that I did not do. I'm not the responsible for one. I am not the responsible one for those terrific acts. Although the verdict found in part that these crimes had been committed, it erred in finding who committed them. As a consequence, I do not accept the sentence, because it's not a sentence of me. It's a sentence of someone that is not standing here today.
The court is going to sentence the person found guilty, and your name, sir, was on that verdict. Take care of yourself, young man. I say that to you sincerely. Take care of yourself. It is an utter tragedy for this court to see such a total waste of humanity, I think, as I have experienced in this courtroom. You're a bright young man. You have made a good lawyer, and I will have loved to have you in practice in front of me. But you went another way, partner. I don't feel any animosity toward you. I want you to know that. Take care of yourself.